I have been invited to a preview of the Titanic exhibition, especially for the media.
Here at the Putnam Museum in Davenport, we are getting prepared to open the world-renowned Titanic exhibition. This is the exhibition that has brought artifacts up from the floor of the North Atlantic and puts them into this wonderful context for you to see and really to feel what it must have been like to sail on the amazing and luxurious Titanic for the short time that people were able to enjoy that excursion. It is a wonder to be able to talk with you today, Captain Smith, about the voyage, the maiden voyage of the Titanic.
Well, it's a glorious ship, isn't it? It's the most luxurious, it's the largest sailing ship ever built. And we have a privilege of sailing on its maiden voyage.
Absolutely, and as a first-class passenger, I couldn't be more thrilled. I believe this is like being aboard the Ritz, but on the ocean.
That's it. It has some new things that no one has ever seen before. The flooring, we were going to use marble. They had the marble, they took it up, and they said there's a better material. And because money's no object for the Titanic, they put it down. It's a new flooring. It's called linoleum. It's wondrous material. Never before seen. All hand cut. Costs more than marble too.
Well, it may come to pass in the future that linoleum becomes a little less expensive than marble.
I can't imagine how that could possibly be. It was all hand cut, and I found thousands of pieces of this on my dive when I went down in 2000. It was all strewn all over the floor.
So linoleum isn't, the way I think of linoleum today, a very thin material.
It was all hand cut too.
Oh my goodness.
Very expensive.
That almost looks like leather.
Yeah.
One other thing about this is
One of the other beautiful places to shoot, if you'd like, is at the first class cabin, which we're coming up on here.
inside a leather wallet.
That's what we're protected.
Inside a leather wallet.
That's what we're protected.
Here we are in front of a first class cabin. A first class cabin in 1912 on the Titanic cost about $2,500 for that ticket, which today would equate to $57,000. Now, if you wanted a promenade on your cabin, in today's $103,000. I don't cruise a great deal myself, but I think that would be the very rare cabin indeed to have a $103,000 ticket. One of the other things that I think is so amazing about this exhibition is that you get to see personal items that people carried with them, had in their baggage, had in their vest pocket as they were on the ship. Here are some personal items: a lady's case of powder, a handkerchief, a pill box. It really brings you close to the people of that time, those who survived and those who did not. Of the 2,220 some passengers, only 700 were able to be loaded on the lifeboats. The other folks perished that night. And when you come to this exhibition, you receive a boarding pass as soon as you come in, and you assume the personality of one of the people who was actually on the Titanic in 1912. You'll know if you were a first or third class passenger, if you're male or female, if you were married, perhaps even if you were a child. I know that many young people who come to the exhibition are very surprised to learn it's never occurred to them that there were children on the ship as well as adults. This is an actual iceberg wall, and we're invited in the exhibition to put our hand on this iceberg It is a little bit warmer than the 28-degree temperature of the North Atlantic the night that people were plunged into the sea from the Titanic as it sank. Now at this point, I can almost no longer stand to keep my hand here, and it becomes an exhibit that you don't just come to see, you come to feel this exhibit, because as I stand here and realize how people must have felt, there's panic, there's chaos, there's shock, and then your body is surrounded by 28-degree water. 28 degrees because salt water freezes at a lower temperature than fresh water. Most of the people who died that night didn't die because they drowned. They died from hypothermia. This will help you to get an absolute feeling throughout yourself of what they experienced. This type of object is called a concretion, and it's been formed due to the pressure at the bottom of the ocean floor at the wreck site. And dissimilar objects have actually fused together. What you have here is a piece of dinnerware, a tile off the floor of the galley, metal spoons, and they've become one piece. Now, different from that is the way that pieces were found on the wreck site. Here you see an actual photograph of the actual wreck site and how these au gratin dishes looked as though they had all landed in beautiful order. In the case, you see a replica of the way that looked on the ocean floor. How that happened was they were all in a cupboard, of course, and over a period of time, the wooden cupboard disintegrated and left the au gratin dishes just as they had been stacked in the wooden cupboard. What's happening to the Titanic in the North Atlantic is that iron-eating microorganisms are slowly disintegrating the ship that remains there. And the items that have been retrieved and conserved are going to be those that we will have for all humanity, for all generations to see, because the Titanic still tends to capture our imagination, to fascinate us. It was of that era what September 11th was to those of us living in the United States and elsewhere today. People in the world were in disbelief. This was the ship that was supposed to be unsinkable, and on its maiden voyage sank, as we all know. Speculation now is that some of the smallest processes, the way some of the rivets were made, and the very, very unfortunate collision underwater with the iceberg stripped, those rivets gave way because not all of them were made in the newest way. And it was some bit of time saving, and as we all know, some bit of ego in trying to run the ship so fast, even when they were getting messages that icebergs were in the area. This is what remains, and we're so pleased to be able to display it for people to come see in Davenport, Iowa.
Titanic at all?
Yeah.
Have you?
We got books about it.
You do? Do you know how long the Titanic was?
No.
882.5 feet long. Asked that one time to someone your age, and they said, I know. I said, what? It's 2 videotapes. Which is true, you know. No, I'm not the real captain. He would be 160 years old. I'm just pretending. I look